Go ahead.
As we saw in the video that Johnny just performed a pull-up, there are 3 mistakes that he made that are actually pretty common for beginner people in pull-ups. We'll start with the first one, which is engaging the scapula at the start of the pull-up. So this means that he is retracting his scapula, which, Johnny, if you want to turn around for me real quick. The scapula right here, he's squeezing them together and then depressing them. So like squeezing them as he's pulling them down. And it's called retraction and depression, and that involves the scapulothoracic joint. Now, when we do that successfully, what that's doing is causing a lack of sway at the beginning of the movement, allowing for a better contraction of the back muscles and better growth in the future. So without doing that, you kind of jolt into the movement and cause a sway right at the beginning. Now moving on to Johnny's mistake, second mistake is straightening the legs. Now usually a common mistake with straightening the legs is a weak core, which allows for really strong swaying. So if you don't tighten your core, there's a huge amount of sway in the sagittal plane on your way up. But Johnny tightened his core well, but off the screen I saw that his legs were in flexion and towards his core. A lot of people do that in order to kind of kick their way up in the pull-up. And so by doing that, he's, like I said, moving into the sagittal plane rather than just staying in the frontal plane, making it easier for his back muscles to develop correctly. Now, a way to fix that would be to crossing the ankles as low as possible, or me just reminding him, or his trainer in the future reminding him as often as possible to keep those legs straight and not pull them towards the torso. Now, his third mistake that is also common in beginner pull-ups is pulling the chest, is lacking to pull the chest to the bar, and a lack of bringing the chin over the bar. Now, these are kind of, this causes this to not happen. So when Johnny gets to the top of his bar, this is usually a lack of strength rather than a lack of knowledge of the fundamentals. And so what most people do is they try, right when they get to the top, they want to get the chin over the bar because they know that's what they're supposed to do. So they flex their upper trapezius muscles in order to get their chin over the bar and get the rep. Now, to counteract that, although I want Johnny to get his chin over the bar every rep, because that's only what counts in the rep, I will say, if I were his trainer, I would allow him to not get that chin over the bar in order to bring his chest to the bar rather than bringing his shoulders to the bar. What this will do is it'll allow the rhomboids to take over and his lower and mid trapezius muscles to take over the bulk of that lifting of the pull-up. Now, besides those few technical things, which is on my end, it's my my job to remind him of those fundamental things throughout each of his workouts throughout the week. But some of the movements that we'll be doing throughout his workout regimen for the next couple weeks is a movement called hanging scapular retractions. And so what that will involve is, go ahead and turn again for me and pretend like you're grabbing a bar for me. Now, if he's hanging right now, I'm just going to have him try to pull his body up right to that point and then release. Do it again, Johnny. Now, what he's doing there is not only, you can go ahead and relax, not only is he learning how to engage the beginning of the movement in order to do it correctly when he does an actual pull-up, but it's actually a really good warm-up for any pull-up or back workout he may have. And next, we're going to go ahead and engage assisted pull-ups, which most gyms like 24 Hour Fitness or the recreation center we have here on campus at California Baptist, they have something where you put your knees on or your feet on, where you can take, where it will assist you depending on your body weight and how much you want to help. So we'll utilize that and not put the bulk on body weight pull-ups. It'll help for the form and it'll actually help with keeping his legs straight if it's a feet placement one like we have here at the rec center. And then next we're going to utilize body weight pull-ups, and depending on his progress through the 4 weeks, we might add a weighted belt pull-up. And what that'll do, if his form is correct and thorough, he will be able to maximize work output in each rep of the pull-up, which will drastically excel his muscles' growth and strength. And then we'll move on. This is all depending on how well he does through his progress. And then we'll go into the lat pull down, which is a cable row or a cable machine where it's the same movement of the pull-up, but he'll be seated with his body not having to worry about tightening the core as much or using the hip flexors to try to aid in the pull-up. And then finally, hopefully more towards the third or fourth week, we're going to introduce single arm dumbbell rows. And that's just the simple movement where you're bent over a little bit like this and you bring it here. That's more for bicep strength, which aids in elbow flexion in the pull-up. Thanks, Johnny. While Johnny started out with not the worst pull-up in the world, we hope after his training over the next few weeks, he can look like this previously recorded pull-up from earlier volunteer. And the scapulothoracic joint, which is also just the same. Here's a quick example of a 4-week program that I would put a person like Johnny through to better their pull-up.